No heroics into Sandoval, please.
Cheers, Jeff.
Hey guys, it's James here and welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode video. We are here for episode number 11 of Season 3 at the Singapore Grand Prix. If you did miss the last episode in Monza, make sure to go check that one out. It was a fantastic battle between myself and Mick Schumacher, and we were swapping positions for the lead many times, and it was a battle for the ages. But we're here in Singapore, a place where we did extremely well last time out. Obviously, we won by just over 30 seconds in a truly dominant performance from pole position. Singapore is probably my best circuit. I am probably quickest around Singapore. We've got plenty of resource points at the moment, 2.4k, so I'll be looking to either finish off our chassis and make it the best it can possibly be, or instead we're going to do a front downforce upgrade, which will be extremely useful coming just before the Japanese Grand Prix, and put that on the car as we're now going to go towards qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix. So here we are then for qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix. We've got a full fuel system fault which will keep us out of action for about 4 minutes or so as we just check the setup. 711 wings seem to be the go around here, as it is a very high downforce circuit and a circuit that we are extremely good at as well, especially when we're running sim damage. It's just bouncing between the barriers as we head onto our very first qualifying lap. Open up the DRS. I'm not sure too many people have set very quick lap times so far, and so it'll be interesting to see how we go as we go a little bit too deep into turn number 3. Just couldn't quite control the car after the flat out turn number 2. We got a bit too much on the curb through there. Heading through turn number 5 though, we got a good exit out onto the long straight through the kink right of 6, which is coming up, and then down towards turn number 7. We get the first register of how well we're doing as we set a purple first sector with a 25.4, although I did set, I think, a 25.2 in practice, so not the best first sector. We obviously lost a couple of tenths of time going a little bit wide into 3 as we head through turn number 9 now. It's very difficult to get on the power early as that wall sticks out on the right hand side, and so it's difficult to take the right line through there, but we seem to have managed it quite well as we're heading towards the Anderson Bridge, going underneath the floodlights. The Singapore circuit looks beautiful with this car, getting as close to the wall as possible. We got too close to the wall, and we've clipped the front right end plate that sent us into the left hand wall, and that is our qualifying over. We were trying to go as close to the wall as possible to open up the hairpin as best as we possibly could, and we got a little bit too greedy with how much space we were having there, and the tyre has just clipped the wall, and that is the front left tyre off, and that is qualifying over. That is a disaster, and Mick Schumacher is on pole by half a second, so the car is really quick around here. We've just thrown away a chance of pole position, which is an absolute disaster, but we're starting right at the very back tomorrow.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Mick Schumacher lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Ocon, Norris, Kvyat and Nick de Vries, Hamilton, Gasly, George Russell and Giovinazzi, Vettel, Latifi, Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez, Magnussen, Grosjean, James and Guan Yu Zhou. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So here we are then for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. This is the strategy, just a simple 2-stop today. But we're going to go to 5 red lights for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. The lights are off, and so are we. It is showtime here at Marina Bay from 21st on the grid, and immediately we're up into 20th place, side by side with Sergio Perez down towards the first corner. We've got to be very, very careful not to chip off any of the front wings who try and swoop all the way around the outside of Magnussen and Lance Stroll. We got so close. We saw a gap around the outside of Magnussen, and we took it, and we're up into 17th place. And now Nicholas Latifi is the next car we need to get past. So it's been a good initial launch through the first couple of corners. We're up from 21st up to 17th. Chasing after Nicholas Latifi down towards turn number 7. We need to get past these slower cars quickly as we go down the inside of the Canadian driver into the left-hander of 7, and we're up into 16th place. We get another look at the start. This is a pretty interesting view. Mick Schumacher kept the lead very nicely from Valtteri Bottas. The two Red Bulls going side by side. Verstappen and Albon is Schumacher leading Bottas, leading the two Red Bull cars, leading Leclerc and Sainz heading around the streets of Marina Bay. Then we get a view from our part of the start. You saw how quickly, even on the medium tyres, we were able to get the tyres up to temperature. And then we swept around the outside of Magnussen, breaking down into 3. We saw a gap on that right-hand side. We went 3 wide through turn number 3 with Stroll and Magnussen, and we came out on top and put ourselves up into 17th place and tried to position the car correctly down towards turn number 5 as there was carbon fibre flying off in the background. I think that was Stroll and Magnussen making some contact, perhaps the remnants of the fight that we had, and then we just went down the inside of Latifi, and we are up into what is now 16th place, which has been a pretty decent start as we get another look from our POV from the onboard camera. It was a good initial launch. I think that's important, especially around the people on their fresh set of the soft compound of tyres. We swept to the right-hand side as quickly as we possibly could, braking for the very, very first corner around the outside of Magnussen. Then we get caught up through 2. Then we see this gap. We get so close to Magnussen's rear right tyre. Any sort of contact there would have resulted in the front wing coming off, but we saw the gap, went for it, and if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you are no longer a racing driver. As we cut to the middle of lap number 1, chasing after Sebastian Vettel and Giovinazzi. Everyone going so slowly into the hairpin. We put the power on as we see another gap. We go around the outside of Vettel, and we're now side by side with Antonio Giovinazzi down towards this right-hander. This would normally be a DRS zone, but the JNS racing car is that much more powerful than the Alfa Romeo, and we're up into 14th place. We get a replay of this overtake. This was a fantastic move. We saw the space open up. We weren't afraid to make a move where we had an accident in qualifying. We had the confidence to get past Sebastian Vettel, and this is important because we need to be, I think, to have a chance in this race, the highest car up on the medium compound of tyre. Remember last year, people doing 1-stops did better than those doing a 2-stop, as Mick Schumacher is still in the lead of the Grand Prix. We're going to do a 2-stop because I think we have the pace to do so. But now on lap number 2, chasing after Pierre Gasly down towards turn 5, we stick our nose in, but we aren't quite close enough to make the move. But that's offset Gasly down towards turn number 7 now through the kink of 6. We're absolutely flying. We've got a very, very powerful car, even though we're running a lot of downforce down the inside of Gasly, who locks up, and we take that position. We're up into 13th place, so 8 positions gained in 1.5 laps. Chasing after Russell, we go to the outside of the hairpin once again. There's that much more space on the right-hand side. Again, Russell is offset on the exit, much like Pierre Gasly was on the exit of 5. That's Russell offset on the exit of the hairpin. We go down the inside of George Russell. We go a little bit too deep, and he might try and fight back, but we are that much quicker on exit, and so we're up into 12th place. We are the second highest medium compound shod car at the moment, with Lewis Hamilton being the highest medium compound shot tyre on lap number 3. Chasing after Danny Kvyat down towards turn number 7. He defends the inside aggressively. We swoop to the outside. We go all the way around the outside of the Russian driver, and we're up into 11th place now. Chasing after Nick De Vries. We're just carving our way through these slower cars. The JNS racing car is quick. Mick Schumacher is on pole by half a second as we go down the inside of De Vries into the hairpin. But the JNS racing car is extremely quick, and this is our opportunity to cut through the field as people will start struggling on their soft compounded tyres. We're going to pit perhaps on lap number 12 or so. We're chasing after Lando Norris up in the points, purple first sector, and now up to 9th place as well. It's been a scintillating recovery drive so far. 12 positions gained as we're now just behind Hamilton. We're getting towards the quicker cars. We set a new personal best. We are very, very close to Lewis Hamilton. We need to get past him on his medium compound tyres as soon as we possibly can, because then we will be the lead medium runner. And when people get caught up in traffic, switching off their soft compound tyres, we're going to be in the perfect place to take the win perhaps in this Grand Prix, but any sort of points would be great after our crash yesterday. Now chasing after Hamilton down towards turn number 7. He again, like Kvyat, defends the inside, but that's no problem for us as we swoop around the outside and up into 8th place. And that is one of the most difficult cars to get past, dealt with. Chasing after Charles Leclerc on lap number 5, down towards the hairpin. We go to the outside this time, much like we did on his teammate Sebastian Vettel. We go side by side with Leclerc on the exit of the hairpin, but we have that much more traction. Having gone that much deeper into the hairpin, we had more track to use on the exit, and so we're up into 7th place. Chasing after Sainz and Ocon, who both peel into the pit lane. Many cars pitting now, as it is Alexander Albon, Valtteri Bottas and Mick Schumacher, who have continued on for another lap or so. But we've got some serious pace. 1 lap in clear air, and we've set a purple first sector and a purple middle sector by 0.6 of a second. We are absolutely flying. The medium tyres seem to be a slightly better race tyre than the soft compound tyre, combined with the fact the JNS racing car is extremely quick, combined with the fact that I'm an absolute beast around Singapore. It's my favourite circuit to drive, and I think I'm quickest around there as well. A new fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well, just by 0.3 of a second, because we got held up by Albon in the final sector, so I feel like we can go even quicker than this. So now we've caught up to Valtteri Bottas. He was 2.6 seconds ahead on the previous lap. He's now just 0.6 as he peels into the pit lane. Another new fastest lap as well. We are absolutely flying. We cut on to lap number 8. We're leading Hamilton by 10 seconds, having just got past him only a couple of laps ago, and it's another fastest lap. Now we're in some clear air. These medium compound tyres are absolutely coming alive, and we are so quick around Singapore. I've checked many times that the difficulty was on the right setting. It is still on 101 as I'm on a controller, and I'm absolutely flying around Singapore. It's just the fact I'm so quick. We're changing the strategy a little bit. We're going on to the mediums for our next stint so that we can go on to the softs for our final stint in this Grand Prix. So we're going to do a 2-stop. We pit at the end of lap number 12. Which means that if he doesn't pit, Lewis Hamilton will inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. And everyone who was ahead of me and pitted for soft is now going to be behind, because look, no one has got past Vettel and Gasly and Russell, and they've been on the mediums from the very start. It's a huge train that's formed as Hamilton swoops into the lead, but he hasn't stopped yet. 2.2 seconds as well. Extremely quick pit stop. No one has got past these slower medium shod tyres, and so Schumacher and Bottas, they're really hurting their races here, as they can't get past these slower cars, and this is an absolute calamity for them. On lap number 13, look at that train behind us snaking down towards the hairpin, featuring Valtteri Bottas, the Red Bull cars. We set a purple middle sector. They can't get past these slower medium tyre shod cars, and that is absolutely calamitous for them. A purple final sector as well, just showing these fresh mediums with less fuel. We are absolutely flying around Singapore. Been 2 purple sectors on these fresh mediums. We've decided to bump up the engine using a lot of overtake. With so much braking, there's no problems with using too much ERS. Another new fastest lap, a 1:35.6. That is extremely quick around here. But remember, we're going to be on the soft compound tyres at the end of this Grand Prix. The gap is now 21.2 seconds to Mick Schumacher, with Jeff just asking if we want to change the lap of when we come in for the soft compound tyres. It doesn't really matter. We are so far ahead as now we're coming up to lap Nicholas Latifi. I did actually accidentally click the box this lap button. That's why the racing line wanted to take me into the pit lane, as Latifi has been lapped with 42 seconds clear of Hamilton. He's on the hards doing a 1-stopper. Schumacher pitted again, so Mick needs to get past Lewis. The gap between them is just 0.3 as we're going to come into the pit lane on the end of 25, put on a fresh set of the soft compound of tyre, and then hopefully absolutely fly for the rest of this Grand Prix. We started in 21st, remember that. I know people have been caught up in traffic and they haven't been able to make overtakes, but this has been a special drive. Hamilton 49 seconds behind. It's going to be far less than that, as Mick needs to get past him. The gap is literally 0.2 between them. Mick on fresh mediums as all these lap cars come out just in front of us. They've managed to all unlap themselves, but we might be able to get past. And yes, we have dealt with the lap cars. Now, just a heads up, I'm going to show you my entire fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We've saved some fuel, and now this is a mesmerising lap. We got past all of the lap cars, and now just enjoy this lap. Coming towards turn number 1, we're absolutely flying. Towards 3, we didn't do what we did in qualifying, which was go a little bit too deep through there. Get the best possible exit out of 3, down through the kink of 4 before braking hard for turn number 5. Open it up as much as possible on the exit. Look how much of the track we used on the exit. The gap to Schumacher is 24.2 seconds at the start of this lap. I wonder what it'll be at the end of this lap, as it's 6/10 quicker than our previous best on these fresh soft compounded tyres. Go quite well through 7, using all of the curb on the exit. Gets so close to the wall through 8. It's unbelievable. Through 9, going as quickly as we possibly can, opening it up as quickly as we possibly can as well. Heading down towards through 10. Are we going to be brave going through the Anderson Bridge, where we made a mistake in qualifying, where it cost us a shot at a dominant pole position? Are we going to be brave? We are brave. We get so close to the wall on the right-hand side, but it doesn't matter. No damage. We're absolutely flying around here. The gap to Schumacher was 24 seconds. It's now 26 zeros. That's 1.5 seconds quicker than any lap we have produced so far in this Grand Prix. Absolutely unbelievable on this soft compounded tyre. Heading through the tight and twisty section, get very close to the wall on that right hand side. Through the final few corners, just a couple of chicanes to go, and what has been an absolutely mesmerising lap in the quickest car on the grid. The JNS Racing chassis is almost maxed out. The engine is almost maxed out. The aero is almost maxed out. We come through the final corner. What's the lap time going to be with 3 purple sectors? It's a 1:33.5 in race conditions. That is mesmerising. The gap was 24.2. It's been extended by 3 seconds as we cut now to the final lap of the Grand Prix. We turn the engine down. We have been superb. You don't see many drivers win from outside the top 10. Very rarely do we see a driver win from 21st on the grid. Very rarely do we see a performance where we win by more than 30 seconds, but James JNS has done all of this today. He has been mesmerising. The car has been on rails around the streets of Marina Bay. Some moments in sport make you need to see it for you to believe it, and this is one of them. Coming towards turn number 23, James comes out of the final corner to win the Singapore Grand Prix from 21st on the grid. What an unbelievable drive. He deservedly takes driver of the day. That is stunning.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
So that was the Singapore Grand Prix. We won by 30 seconds, and our fastest lap was 2 seconds quicker than anybody else's. We're the only person to dip in the 35s, the 34s, and the 33s with a staggering lap time. Mick up in second, doing us a good service for a 1-2. Our championship lead is now 93 points, which is fantastic. And we now have double the points that Red Bull do in the Constructors. But that was the Singapore Grand Prix. I hope you guys did enjoy that absolutely mesmerising drive. You won't see a drive like that for a long time. It is my best circuit is Singapore, and we just hooked it up every single lap. We were mesmerising, winning from 21st on the grid. I didn't change the difficulty at all. I was just on rails, and what an unbelievable performance. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure to give the video a like. Subscribe if you are new around here and you want to see Formula 1 content 3 times a week, and I will catch you in the next one. Later, guys.